Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Science and IT in One. Today we'll be continuing with the Nectar in the Sieve novel. We'll be starting with chapter 28. From counting annas as the days went by, we began to count rupees. 4 rupees, five, six. Even Puli began to show excitement. There was a time when we worked so well, or the stones were so kind that we earned a rupee in a single day. I handed the coin, as usual, to Puli, who thrust it into the ragged pouch which covered his manhood. Where he transferred the money we gave him from there, I do not know. It was his own business that he never told. Certainly not one pie was ever lost. He walked back jubilant that one day in the coppery twilight, already edged with black like ashes around drying embers, a thin drizzle was falling. So fine it might have been day. The ground beneath my feet felt like the earth in the early morning and no longer a street. In fancy, I was already home. The single twisting road that led from the quarry soon split into several streets, the main one leading to the bazaar, and it was this that I took. I will go on to the temple, said Nathan. I'm a little tired. Besides, it does not take two to buy rice cakes. Maybe a little more than rice cakes this time, I said cheerfully, winking at the boy. You go on, we will give you a surprise. I went to the small shop as I did each morning, Pully, eager, stepped beside me, and the vendor hailed me as an old customer. He was a good man, for all that I bought so little from him. He sold out the largest rice cake for the same money, and sometimes a lump of ghee to go with it as well. Wait a bit, I said as he began to wrap the rice cake in a plantain leaf. There may be a little more today. Come into money, have you? He cried, chuckling and slapping his thigh with a loud report. Well, you have come to the right man. I have selections such as few have, and mark you, cheaper than anybody else. What will you have? Potato fritters, crisped in butter and melting inside, or these fried pancakes as self-stuffed with onions? Something sweet for the boys, sugar whirls, or these exquisite curlies. What shall it be? What shall it be? I inspected all the delicacies which I had never dared to do before, and I found it next to impossible to decide between them. Pully hopping up and down beside me was likewise varying from one dainty to another. The pillow there has such a lovely smell, and it had roasted nuts in it. Oh no, I think the fritters will last longer. In the end, we brought the fried pancakes, one each, paying 6 annas for the three and 4 annas for two rice cakes. So we can see the happiness when they get a chance to enjoy themselves. Well, if we are extravagant, it is only once, I said, seeking to console my uneasy mind. 10 annas in only a little is only a little or what we usually spend. The change will do us good. But the recklessness did not end there. As we walked on, we passed a hawker, and he had a sensitive nose and sensed that we had little money, a little control to go with, and he came after us pulling out and accepting his wares, and at last he took out a small wooden cart on wheels, to which he attached a string and pulled it along behind him as he came following us. A dum-dum cart, cried Polly, and he echoed after the man. We need not buy. Let us only stop and watch. And he tugged at my sari. So we stopped to look at the toy, and it indeed was a pretty thing, lovingly made, exactly right, like a real cart. The wood skillfully carved with painted spokes to the wheels and a yoke which moved on the necks of the painted oxen. So the hawker tries to entice the boy by showing the cart. So the skill of Indian craftsmen is described subtly and describes a part of India to us. Skillfully done means the effort carved. Pull it and hear the drum beat, said the wily man. Wily man is clever, shrewd man, holding out the string to Pulley. And how could he resist it, who was only a child when I myself was enchanted? So he dragged the string, and as the cart came towards the legs of the oxen moved, and the carter's hand rose and fell, and the drums he held in them came down upon the tiny drum in front of him a real drum, cunningly made with the cords up the sides and skin stretched over the top. Dum 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 with the drum. The quicker you pull, the faster it beat. 2 annas only. You will never be able to buy cheaper. It cost me all of that to make. There is no profit to me in it. I only sell because I must. I have not sold one toy all day. I sneaked a glance at Pulley, and he was looking at me with eyes like lambs. He still held the string between the stump of his fingers and kept yanking at it as it was the drumming was sweet to his ears. Why do you not pay for it with your own money if you want it? I said uneasily. I see you begging every day. You know I have spent more than I ought to already. 2 annas more won't matter, he wheedled. I promise I will never ask you for anything. But you have money of your own, I repeated. I have seen it myself. I have spent it all, he said pitifully. People gave at first, but now they are used to me. It is a hard world. Again, I thought, he's a child after all, still tender, still eager. Whatever he may say or do, he has lived only a short time, not easily. And even as I nodded, he began fumbling at his pouch, unable in his haste to undo it. And until at last I had to do it for him, taking from it the coins I needed, still warm from his body, and handing them to the hawker. The extravagance gave frenzied, encouraged by his lapse, and I couldn't stop myself from taking out 2 more nuts to buy another card for my little grandson, I thought, who had so much to bear from his birth, and I pictured his white transparent cheeks flushed with excitement, while Ida hovered nearby with a face like a flower, the rare smile that graced it. The hawker took the money from me and made off so of quickly, no doubt fearing that I would come to my senses. We continued on our way, Polly dragging one cart behind him, I dragging the other with the rice cakes, the pancakes, and the 2 anna piece, which was all that was left of the day's earnings. While I thought again and again of what I would say to my husband. Now we were within the presence of the temple, and I caught sight of Nathan and ran towards him, bidding the boy pick up the cart with his infernal drum. But no, he was bewitched. The cart must come dum-dumming behind him. I do not know what came over me, I blurted, penitent. So wheedled is flattering. So so the where he said pitifully is the pathetic plight of a child. So we can see visual imagery how Ida hardly smiles, deserted wife, criticized by the society. And the writer does not only narrate the story but also gives a vivid description and a vivid insight to the life of people in post-independent India. Uh, though she writes in English, she is able to retain a strong Indian texture in the narrative, uh, then makes the novel so appealing and successful. This is the simplicity of a narrative technique. So you had write this down. I don't know what came over me. I blurted penitent. Penitent is more than regret. So infernal means hellish storm. I shall make work very hard to make up, you will see. Nathan looked at me, his eyes were dull. He's exasperated, he's frustrated. I thought, no wonder. We have a surprise for you, I said with false cheerfulness. Look, pancakes. Nathan gave them a glance, then rose hurriedly to his feet. I saw him stagger to one side, away from the strong corridors. When the spasm of sickness was over, came back to lean against the pillar. He was shivering. It was the food, he gasped. It turned my stomach. You have worked too hard, I said. It does not do to strain oneself. The fever has been coming all day, he said, since this morning. I felt his body and it was burning hot. The skin dry and stretched. He had obviously been ill for several hours. Why did you have to do it? I wanted to say. Why, but I only said, lie and rest. You'll feel better. And took his head in my lap and set my hands to massaging the pain from his limbs. The rain, which had been fine drizzle, had become by morning a heavy downpour. The air, as always, at the beginning of the monsoon, lay like a blanket upon the earth, damp and suffocating. But when it blew, the wind came through the red rain, wet and chill. Nathan was still shivering. So intimacy between Rukmani and Nathan f- Nathan is shown here, from stronger nervousness to their closeness and bond. Nathan was still shivering, but no longer violently. I broke up the two rice cakes and we ate in silence, depressed by the ceaseless rain. Nathan has eaten his share. I thought he must be better. It is the cold which makes him shiver. Nevertheless, I said to him anxiously, "Stay behind and rest. It is not good for you to go out in this rain. Tomorrow will be enough." "Tomorrow and tomorrow it will rain," he replied. "It is the monsoon. I cannot sit here idling while the days slip past and we are still far from home." So this is due to this attitude of Nathan, he had to die in the end because he was arrogant. He did not like to like sort of rest and go home safely. We went. So since a year has gone since they had came to the city. We went, three of us, to the quarry, joining the bedraggled group of workers toiling along the winding, muddy road. Those who were richer brought and donned leaf hooded cloaks which fell stiffly from head to thigh, making them look like walking beetles. But these protectors were expensive, 12 annas apiece. Most of the workers did without. Rain had softened the road. Liquid mud came squelching up between my toes as I walked. Ahead and behind me were scores of footprints, many of them like small pools where water had seeped in. The car tracks were full of water too, long lines crisscrossing with mud flung up on either side of the trenches. 3 or 4 empty block carts passed on our way to collect the broken stones. The bullocks drawing them struggling to get through the morass, their hides slippery with rain. So bedraggle means disorder, and morass means boggy ground. The cartwheels sank deeply in the mud as they turned and spattered continuously from the track creaking wheels. The worst season of the year, a voice was grumbling. "Next year, whatever happens, I shall not work." "Pa, you say that every year." "No, really, this time I mean it, even if it means not eating." Plans, everyone had plans. They were all built on money. Save enough to keep dry, save enough to cast one's chains, save enough to go away. The clink of storms came to us sodden with the rain, distinct, unmistakable. A few brave souls had risen with the dawn up the hillside to join them, scrambling over the sharp slopes. Once I caught at a bush to help me up. It was a prickly pear, and I had spent precious minutes pulling up the thorns. Nathan beside me was panted. The breath came and went so quickly that his chest resembled a bellow. So the poor, whenever their brain depresses them, wherever they are, the rain depresses them. And sodden means soaking. So she dreams of home, but of the two, 6 children, she has only two remaining. I'll rest when you are home," he said to me impatiently. "There will be plenty of time then." And I listened to him. All day we sat there in the rain breaking stones, and for the whole of the week, and Nathan grew neither better nor worse. On the seventh day, the ache came upon him again. Ache means fit. But he did not stop work. A kind of frenzy drove him on. Rain, not heavy now, but monotonous, uh, dripping now onto us, splashing on the stones. No shelter on that bare hillside. The wind came whistling round it and struck at the crouched wet bodies. Hammer on stone, stone on hammer, stone on stone, clink clank drip. The rain had even defeated Puli the lion-hearted. He would not accompany us to the quarry. Dusk was approaching early because of the silent crowd. So actually, they had to suffer a lot because of buying the dum dum card. If they had not bought the dum dum card, they would have returned home. Dusk was approaching early because of the sullen, lowering clouds. When I took up the sack, not full today, the stones rattled loosely inside. Don't wait for me, I said to my husband. I'll be with you soon. Don't be long, he said. I went quickly from him with the sack on my back, running to get the head of the waiting queue. 6 annas less than we have earned before, but we have nearly enough now, I thought, coming through the gloom. I must see about a cart. Maybe it will not be as much as we have reckoned, then we can leave at once. So she searched for a cart, a person to transport them back home. My mind wandered to my home. So they were so poor that they cannot even go back. My mind wandered to my home. Would it still be there? I saw before my daughter and the shy whites face Sakrabani and Puli. If only he would come, how happy he would be, my husband and I. Not Puli though, he would certainly refuse. I shall miss him, I thought sadly, but he won't even notice our going. But indeed, Puli goes with them. Disjointed thoughts kept clattering through my brain, or was the clatter only the rain? I stumbled down the hill slopes, treacherous with mud and stones, sighing with relief as I reached the road. Halfway along it, I saw a small knot of people gathered. Nothing can make me stop, I thought, hurrying along. Then another group called, I, see to your man, he has fallen. I stopped when my senses poised themselves on the brink of insensibility, ready to swoop away at the madness not from me. I shook off the blackness and went to him through the gathered people who parted to let me through, then closed their ranks as I knelt beside him. He was lying by the side of the road where someone had carried him, not in the gutter, but away from the road to avoid the mud-churning cartwheels. His body had made a trough of the wet mud. He lay jerking and twitching. Next to him, the swollen gutter ran like a stream noisily. Above it, I could hear his hoarse breathing. I touched him, and his body was chill as the wind. The pitiless rain came splashing down, uncaring. I had no shield for him. At last, I unwound a part of my sari, meaning tear it, but the material would not tear where my hands where it gave, limp and perished. In despair, I wound the rags about me again. Nothing gave me anything. Nobody had anything to give. The men in loincloths, the women in saris, tattered and sodden like mine. It makes no difference, I thought to myself, and found the words being murmured by another. One man took him by the armpits, another his feet. I came walking behind with me other women, his whispering words of comfort that the rain washed away as soon as they were uttered. So very wonderful imagery is given here. Sometimes there was a silence. While they waited for my answer, waited while I groped for their words. Has he been ill long? Yes, sometime. Have you no sons to help? Yes, no, not here. I licked my wet lips. There was a taste on them of salt and of the fresh sweetness of rainwater. I didn't know I had been crying. So they never asked help from daughters. They have gone away with no intentions of coming back. She is desperate. We can see how desperate she is. So all the people actually there were desperate and poor. And at the conclusion to each chapter, we can say this chapter creates a mood towards the end of the first para. Nathan's health is deteriorating. So we can see in this chapter how Nathan's health starts to deteriorate. So with that, we can end chapter 28. And in the next video, we'll start with chapter 29. And we have only two more chapters left, so we can finish this soon. So thank you for listening. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video, and click the bell icon for more notifications. Thank you.